Chris Gore got the knowledge in store. Oh yeah, Alan Lang watching chocolate flare. Movie and TV show reviews what you need. Film threats on fire, we're planting the seeds. Film threat, we keep it real. Dive into the stories, you know the deal. Turn the phone, it's the place to be. Movie lovers gather round. 1, 2, 3. From blockbusters to indie gold. Oh yeah.
Welcome everyone. It's Friday. That's right. Thank God it's Friday, or TGIFT. Thank God it's Film Threat. So much on the show today. We've got movies to review. So many movies. So get ready. The Amateur G20 debuts on Amazon Prime. Yep, you can watch it. Rock, Warfare, Sacramento, hell of a summer. Alan has seen The Friend. It's a movie about a dog. It's about a dog. Let's see if Alan loves it. Plus, The King of Kings, Sinners. We got a lot of movies to review. Your chat, comments, and questions. And an interview with Secret Mall apartment director Jeremy Workman. We will look at the trailer. This is an amazing documentary that will blow your mind. Your chat. It's Friday. What are we doing waiting around? Let's start the show. Let's go. Where's Alan, man? Come on, Alan. Come on. Let's go.
Dude, where the hell is this guy and what is he waiting for? Get over here. Alan.
You're back.
I'm back. Where did I go?
You're back from your... You're back. Look, I follow Alan on social media at my pal Al. It is the best trolling. I love your trolls. I mean, I know you, so I know what you're doing.
I did get called out. I did get called out by Grace Randolph overnight.
You did?
Not
What'd
really.
you
I
say?
mean, I just misread her tweet and responded to it. And,
Did she respond back?
Yeah, I mean, not to. I apologize, but she hasn't responded back to that.
Well, you know what they say, never apologize. But your chart on the China Hollywood box office in China, that has gone viral. People are quoting it. There's apparently going to be a story written over the weekend on filmthreat.com about that chart.
Possibly.
Alan, look.
We've already
500 words.
500. There are priorities, but we'll try.
Please, Alan, I need that article so people will go to the website. Go to filmthreat.com. And
where you can see my Sinners review.
By the way, we are reducing the number of ads on Film Threat. I had a meeting this week. Oh, look, a review of Sinners, which is one of your favorite films this year.
Yep.
But we reduced all the outcry from people. You have too many ads on the site. First of all, I agree. I mean, at a certain point, how many ads can we have? But
it's ruining the mobile experience.
Yeah, it's impossible. So we've reduced it. Let me know how it is. Reach out to me, Alan. Also, please look at it. Let me know. We can reduce them. Maybe turn them off. I mean, we make a little bit of money with it. It's worth it. But if it impedes on the experience, and then click on the reviews. Look at all these reviews of movies. Yeah. Oh, we have Being Maria. I really want to see that. That's a movie about the making of Lost Tango in Paris, where Matt Dillon plays Marlon Brando. See, these are ads. You can use, I hate to say this, use an ad blocker when you go to Film Threat.
No, but we need the money off the ad. You need to.
I don't know what is the happy medium.
Through the ad. Better yet, click through the ad when you go.
Click through the ad. Right. Let's see who's here and say hi to everyone. Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, Suns and Shadows. What's the pool for coffee consumption today? I've got Chris at 1, 2 in waiting.
You are correct. You win the pool. I'm on coffee cup number 2, just poured before the stream. It is it's a really weird flavor. Yeah. It's
I think you have room in there for a coffee machine. Maybe you should just percolate in the studio.
Well, I usually have to take a leak during the show, so I just sort of combine those trips. Throw the coffee in quick. I'm back. I will be doing that also. Thanks, Sons of Shadows.
Brock Samsonite, good morning, beautiful people. I hope you're all having a wonderful Friday. Thomas Anderson, I'm subscribing to channels that champion physical media and not piracy and physical media misinformation. This includes Film Threat, Mid-Level Media, and Josh Razair, formerly Film. You should also subscribe to the Burnett Work.
Yes, Robert Meyer Burnett. Him as well, Thomas. And thank you for being a member. Go to our members only section for videos, including Alan filmed a Q&A about Sinners. I filmed a Q&A with the director of The Accountant 2, which I'll review in the coming weeks, which I thought, if you love John Bernthal, it's a John Bernthal, Ben Affleck action fest. We'll get to it.
By the way, you mispronounce it. It's Josh Razeo.
Josh Razeo?
Yeah. Formerly Films at Home.
I didn't pronounce it. I didn't say it. What are you talking about?
All
right. So I do get a little annoyed with YouTubers that will review a movie in theaters, but they saw it on a pirate stream with Russian casino ads bombarding it. Look, if you're going to review movies playing in theaters, see it in a theater. Now, Alan and I, for a lot of the indie movies, we do get screeners that are given to us with the intention that we will review it. And for a lot of these smaller movies and documentaries, it's not maybe essential to see it in a theater. It's always my preference, like Bob Trevino likes it. I paid to go see it in a theater, and it's playing limited release. So thank you, Thomas.
From Couch Tater for 10. Hey, Chris, thanks for the reco on Luckiest Man in America. I wouldn't have known about it without your review. And my kid in my theater had one showing on one day and managed to catch it. One of the best this year.
So glad you liked it. Paul Walter Hauser is on fire. And thank you, Couch Tater. We appreciate it. And finally, Lord Thoth says,
like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, sign up as a member, join us on X, Discord, Rumble, and Instagram. Buy our merch at shop.filmthread.com.
This is my new favorite shirt. It's from our
old favorite shirt, but
Make It Manly collection, which Lori is gonna create. We should do a summer collection with tank tops, and shorts,
kind of like a white boy summer.
Summer. We can do it. So this is based on my tweet from a while ago where I was almost canceled. So a little crazy, but I monetized my cancellation and turned it into a shirt, and we have lots of others in our superhero style collection, a Fantastic Four inspired shirt, among others. So shop.filmthreat.com. So there you go. Very excited about that. Okay. Now a treat. Film Threat was recently a sponsor of the Credo 23 Film Festival, the first annual festival that champions it's anti-AI and champions true independent films. Alan and I both attended the festival. We, of course, told you about it, advertised it. I think we're both fans of Justine Bateman.
Mm-hmm.
I like her tweets. Amazing. She's really a champion for free speech and sanity and common sense in entertainment. So the festival was over. I got an email from Justine thanking me for support of the fest. She wants us back for next year, which we will be more aggressive next year, Alan.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out.
We know
but she sent a gift. She sent a box. I can't really show I'm not going to show the address here. How do I cover the address? I got a box.
You can show our address, not hers.
It's like a pizza box. She sent a gift. I'm going to open it right now. So here I'm opening it. And what do we have here? This is cool. A clapboard from Credo 23, Film Threat on that. That is awesome. It's sturdy. It's going in my look. If you didn't know I was a very organized, particular person, you would think I'm a hoarder if you looked in this room where I do the show. But That's amazing. So that goes in the set. And then she sent a bunch of other stuff here. Look at this. Think slates. It's an actual slate. And then a note that says Chris. I'm opening this. And on one of the badges here, it says, Chris, thank you for being a C23 FF Media sponsor, Justine. How much do you think I could get for that on eBay? Well, it's not going on eBay. I'm keeping this. And we love Justine, and we will support everything she does because Hollywood needs her kind of common sense. So that's great. What's weird is I have now become for YouTubers the secretary, like, hey, can you get this message to Justine? I want Justine to be on my show. How'd you get I mean, we did videos on Justine's essays on her Substack and her website. And then one of those videos she saw, and then she posted about it. And then I asked her, would you want to be on the show? We started DMing on Twitter. You can do that too. It's not like I have some connect, but I am not, I'm sorry. I can't be the secretary for everyone that wants to reach out to Justine Bateman, but thank you so much, Justine. We appreciate you. We will continue to support Credo 23. Now, there is a movie coming out. Are you a Cheech and Chong fan, Alan?
Oh my God. I mean, those movies came out so long ago.
I love those films. I listened to the records of Cheech and Chong when I was a kid. It was they were so radical. That was when alternative comedy was actually dangerous. We would listen to it. The records were great. Up in Smoke is a classic. It is one of the all-time great comedies. And by the way, I am not into the marijuana. I'm not into marijuana. I'm sorry, folks. I'm not. But their humor, I mean, that movie is such a classic. It's so amazing. I remember.
I will tell you, just an aside, but when this was my evangelical days, and we were warned Cheech and Chong pot evil. That's kind of my relationship with Cheech and Chong.
Whatever. I don't think it's evil. I think they're hilarious. Whether you are 420 friendly or not, you can be a fan of Cheech and Chong. Now, there's a documentary coming out called Cheech and Chong's Last Movie. We will review that when it comes out. There's a special showings in some theaters on 420. I might have to go to one of those. But here's a message from the Alamo Drafthouse, great theater chain across America. And they have a little something to say. It's an important message. So let's watch this.
Hey, Alamo, Cheech and Chong here. And we're usually pretty chill, but the one thing we can't stand is when people talk or text during the movie. Right, Tommy? Yeah. I mean, it's distracting. And you might miss a classic scene like when we drive a truck made out of weed across the border and up in smoke. Or when we get trapped in a loony bin in Nice Dreams.
Hey, man, we're in a nut house, man.
Or when we get real in our new documentary, Cheech and Chong's Last Movie. So don't talk and don't text during the movie. Right, Tommy? You held it in too long, man. No, I'm good.
So I love these things. They have little PSAs, messages at Alamo Drafthouse about not talking in the theater. The best one, this is before Alamo Drafthouse, John Waters did one of these where he said, don't talk in the theater and don't smoke while he's smoking. I got to find the John Waters one. That's actually the best one. It wasn't made for Drafthouse, but then he said, then he goes on to say, go ahead and talk. It gives ushers jobs. Like, just break the rules. John Waters is one of my favorites. So there you go. Superman is coming out. I don't know. Have we talked about Superman yet? James Gunn's Superman?
I think we were going to put it off to closer to release date rather than getting ahead of the story.
Yeah, so we may or may not have talked about Superman on the show over the last few months, but there is a new documentary coming out called Shopping for Superman that I just want to make you aware of. With Superman fever about to happen over this summer, I mean, one would hope. I mean, DC hopes. James Gunn hopes you are excited for Superman. There are lots of other Superman things that are coming out. So I just want to make you aware. Just because you watch Film Threat, we're not just all about the big releases. We're about the smaller movies you should know about. So let's check out this trailer, which I know you haven't seen, Alan.
Nope.
Here it is, Shopping for Superman.
Up in the sky, it's a bird. It's a plane.
The American Comic Shop. For over 50 years, they have been a singular space for collecting and graphic storytelling.
In many ways, is kind of the godfather of comics as they exist today.
It's something that you just can't do unless you really love it, unless you're devoted to it.
I couldn't believe that there was a shop just for this stuff.
There's something about comics that seems to pull people together like other things don't.
If you go back to the early 1970s, there were maybe 20, 30, 40 comic stores in the United States at that time. At its peak, we probably had 5,000.
I have enough comics to sell 1,000 comics a day for about 27 years.
The business was booming.
It felt like there was no end to the potential growth.
That all went to hell.
A local comic shop is closing its doors.
The whole project will collapse.
Catastrophic failure of comic shops. And I'm like, you dirty.
A lot of us didn't have the business backgrounds.
Went totally off the rails. They had no idea what they were doing.
After things did crash, we got to come up with the biggest thing we possibly can. And we did.
After 54 years, DC Comics has decided to kill off Superman.
And the whole room goes, did something.
Ooh, let me do that again. Let me do a heavy sigh again.
This had to happen, or there wouldn't be a market.
The future of comic shops has never been more in doubt.
Local comic store's biggest competitor has become Amazon.
We are on the brink of collapse, very much.
There's something magical about all this, and I don't want that magic to end.
This is not an optional lifestyle. This is all I got.
I want this store to be something that people remember with awe long after I'm gone.
Well, there you go, Alan. I know that you're like, you remember the death of Superman. That was a phenomenon. Lines around the block at Golden Apple Comics on Melrose Avenue. I remember that. I'm the comic store I went to weekly, dropped way too much money. Dave's Comics in Royal Oak. Dave Huxley was the owner of that comic shop, and it was a place I went to. Now, it took me 15 minutes to pick out my comics and buy them. And then I stayed at the store for 3 hours because you would sit in the store and have debates and argue. And then someone would say, you haven't read this? And then pull out some, used comic. And I wasn't really much a collector. I was initially, but I was a reader. And so I'm sorry. I'm surprised Gary Beekler
Isn't in it.
Isn't in it. Comic Outlaw like that. Gary's shop should be there.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you, but my comics. It was the Comic Stop. It was originally in the Old Town Mall in Torrance, run by Nick and Pam Scotto. For at least 8 years. That's where I spent all my time. I don't know where I got the money, but I spent way too much money on comic books, and it was my weekly passion.
Yeah, it's hey, Gary, Nerdrotic in the chat. Yes, Gary, check out that trailer. You probably might be in. The guy who bought my shop is. That's funny. That's great. Thanks, Gary. I'll be watching FNT later. Just making you aware of this, Doc. Wanted to let you know because that's what we do. Hey, guess what? Atomic Lori found it. This is the very short clip of John Waters Make this a short, Lori. Look at this. John Waters PSA. Do not smoke in movie theaters, okay? This is John Waters telling you this. Here we go.
Hello, I'm John Waters, and I'm supposed to announce there is no smoking in this theater, which I think is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard of in my life. How can anyone sit through a length of a film, and especially a European film, and not have a cigarette? But don't you wish you had one right now? And I'm telling you that smoke anyway. It gives ushers jobs. And if people didn't smoke, there would be no employment for the youth of today. So once again, no smoking in this theater.
That always got laughs. I saw that way back when. So thank you, Lori, for looking that up. Now we have more. We have a few more things that we'll get to your comments, I promise. By request, the Primitive War trailer reaction. It was requested on a Wednesday that we talk about this trailer. I have not seen this and was not aware, and I usually am. So I am seeing this for the first time, not pre-screened. Alan, are you ready?
I am.
It's from Rialto Distribution. I'm sad to say I've not really heard of them. I usually know the small.
Yeah, I know. I'm starting to go, is this a trap?
No,
We
but
have to get trapped.
hopefully there's no nudity. But let's look at this
Hopefully
trailer
there is.
by request. By request. Here we go.
All right, looks good so far.
RT Vulture looking for SFC Baker. Yeah, you found them. You ordered, Sarge.
We all make some poor life choices, Baker. The old man would love to discuss the consequences with you.
3 days ago, I lost my Green Berets. There is something going on in that valley. RT Vulture. Reconnaissance is your business. And I need you all to find them for me.
What is it? Track. Is it our guys? No. Animal. Something big. Telling you guys, there's monsters out here.
All right. I like it.
Yeah, it
It's
looks good. That's a good looking movie.
A Jurassic Park movie mixed with a war film. Looks good. Looks good.
And that was Jeremy Piven in the middle of the
Yes, I love Jeremy Piven. So look, we will review this when it releases. It says coming soon. I'm sure it'll be coming soon. We've got about 4 more news stories, but we're going to get to your comments first. So let's do that. Alan, if you would.
Oh, yeah. Sorry that we're doing this story. Solomon Thorne, I was introduced to Cheech and Chong from the 70s and Spy Kids.
I love the albums. Man, I remember when we listened to the albums, it was like we were doing something bad. Like I remember with my friends where I grew up, Bill and Kurt Lynch were buddies of mine. They were brothers. They had a record player, and we'd go and listen to like the older brothers' albums, and it was like we were doing something bad. Like we shouldn't be doing this. Oh my god, it was great.
All right, Contra 87. Up in Smoke was one of our repeat movies growing up in the 90s.
Hell yeah.
Thomas Pickett for 5. I grew up on Cheech and Chong's The Corsican Brothers. I defend it.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of people don't know Stripes, the Bill Murray movie. That movie was supposed to be Cheech and Chong in the army. They joined the army. And they rewrote the script when Cheech and Chong wouldn't do it. They wanted to direct part 2, which is not as good. But go back and watch Stripes. There's some weed humor in it. Judge Reinhold is a character that smokes weed, and they put all the weed jokes to his character.
Patrick Lemire, I feel like Pee Wee Herman made his debut in Cheech and Chong movies.
Well, there you are.
All right. D. Goodhart, comic shops like theaters basically have the content to blame. Yes.
Yes, D. Goodhart, it is. It's really the death of shared experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Going to the comic shop wasn't all about buying comics. It was about conversation. And from that to drive-ins to movie palaces, a lot of things. Our friend of the show, April Wright, has a documentary series called Going Attractions about things people used to do that they no longer do en masse.
Mm-hmm. Suns and Shadows, PJ Souls and Stripes. Just saying. Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Topless.
Oh, yes.
And also in, people forget, Halloween. They always say, like, Jamie Lee Curtis. No. PJ Souls. PJ Souls.
Also, Stripes had a very early Sean Young in it as well.
Yeah. We're going to jump right to this news story. We may save these other news stories for end of the show or for Monday. Okay, Lori?
I'm just saying, I think one of those would make a good clip for over the weekend, but that's just me.
We have a lot of movies to review. What do you want to do, Alan? Tell me.
All right. Well, we'll do this one.
You tell me what to do.
Well, we definitely should do the one you just had up. So let's do that.
Okay. And then you tell me where to go next. And we'll
Okay.
bump the other ones to Monday. Versus will be on fire on Monday, by the way. We're talking Fantastic Four on Monday for Versus with the whole gang. But let's get to this one first. I am so like defeated reading this story from Entertainment Weekly. This is just now other outlets have written about this. They've taken but Entertainment Weekly. I'll put the story up, but Alan, you have
I'll just get to
salient
it.
quotes. Let me just get the headline here. Fantastic Four to explore gender roles. Here is the cast, not in character, the cast of the Fantastic Four. And from Entertainment Weekly, what did they say in this article, please? This is not. I have thoughts about this because I've heard the quotes.
Okay, I'm just going to jump to it. So regarding Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, this is Vanessa Kirby speaking. From her earliest appearance in Fantastic Four in number 1 in 1961, Sue was often relegated to a passive role, dubbed Invisible Girl. Her powers limited her and her character largely defined by her relationship with the men around her. But Kirby and director Mark Shackman set out to redefine Sue, honoring her roots while updating her for today's audience. This is the quote, if you played an exact 60s Sue today, everyone would think she was a bit of a doormat, Kirby acknowledges. Instead, First Steps gives Sue agency, gravitas, and inner conflict, showcasing her as a woman of profound emotional intelligence and personal power. Shackman calls her the most emotionally intelligent person on the planet, and it's through that lens that Sue becomes a political and personal leader. You want to comment about this first before we go?
Yeah, let me comment on that. We'll get to Johnny Storm in a second. I think she's hangs around people who think this way. I know that there's certain groups of people that have these ideas all floating around, so they parrot them and repeat them in interviews. I don't have that much problem with what she said. I mean, I remember reading FF Comics where Sue Storm had her outfit on and an apron and brought in cake or dinner for the rest of the team. So I don't mind updating that aspect. I am told from someone who has seen Fantastic Four that don't mess with Sue Storm. She's very powerful in an action hero, in a female action hero vein that could be compared to Sigourney Weaver in Alien or Aliens. That she is very strong, but not in a girl boss way, in the kind of strong woman that I think that we've we've actually liked in movies. Not the girl boss where she can do no wrong, but like a badass in a good way. So I don't know. I don't have as much of a problem because those early FF comics, while I love them, yeah, they're kind of like set in they're a reflection of that era. But it would be cool to see someone do a cosplay with a Sue Storm costume, wearing an apron, carrying a birthday cake, but with that hair that goes like Mad Men kind of style, like a bouffant, like early 60s. I'd love to see that. What else is in the article now? I know it gets a little dicier here.
All right, so we're going to move on to Johnny Storm. Johnny Storm, Human Torch, updated as a self-aware, complex hothead. In past portrayals, like Chris Evans in the 2005 film or Michael B. Jordan in the 2015 reboot, Johnny was the cocky, adrenaline junkie showboat. All charm, jokes, and ego. He was often comic relief or the bad boy trying to grow up. Joseph Quinn's Johnny still has that spark, but it's more of a melancholic and reflective. This is the quote, he was branded as this womanizer, devil-may-care guy, but is that sexy these days? I don't think so. The version of Johnny is less callous with other people's feelings in mind.
I have some really specific thoughts about this. This is a terrible idea. Let me tell you why. Because it doesn't give any of the characters a character journey, a moment. Okay, the reason Han Solo is a badass is because he begins as a scoundrel, and in the end, he's all about the money. Doesn't care about the princess, whatever. He takes his money, he's flying away. In the end, he does the right thing. He protects his friend Luke, who then can finish his journey to destroy the Death Star. If a character starts out perfect and evolved Johnny Storm, that is not interesting. If a character begins as Tony Stark, is a womanizer, a boozer, a cocky narcissist, and evolves into a good father who cares more about others than himself, that's a journey. It took 10 years for RDJ to complete that journey, approximately. Someone do the math. But if a character begins perfect, there's nowhere for them to grow. And they don't even have to grow. They can have a moment of Johnny being less of an a-hole than he is. That's what makes his rivalry with the Thing. He treats Ben like a brother. They harass each other. He's a jackass and a womanizer. Maybe he actually begins to care for a woman, and it's out of character. If you begin being evolved and perfect, you're boring. You're fucking boring. And this is Hollywood, has no subtlety, no like nuance, and like just nothing beneath the surface. It's got to be they're all perfect and great at the beginning, and then nothing happens. They don't grow. Boring. Alan, what do you think about this? So all I have, like, Sue, I definitely get that. But these comments on Johnny Storm are wrong-headed, and I'm still cautiously optimistic. But I also think that in many ways, these actors pander to the outlets they speak to. So take these comments with a grain of salt. Your comments, Alan, I want to hear it.
Why is this bad storytelling? It's the idea of the fatal flaw. Characters can't be perfect. You just mentioned it. You know, we want to see Sue's journey to become the person she is. We want to see Johnny's journey to become the person he is. Why? Because we can relate to that. You know, we've all been the womanizer in the past. We've all been the person with no voice. We've all been there. And why movies are great is because someone else has been there too. They wrote that story, and we can go along with that story. That's what connects us with characters, with storylines, with plot lines. But when you jump to the end and say, hey, they're perfect now, and not even give a hint that, you know, that their flaws inform their ways of making decisions, doing certain actions, that's when these characters become boring and bland. And that's my fear of what is happening here. is you need to have some kind of a fatal flaw for these characters. Captain Marvel never had a fatal flaw. That's why it failed. When you use the word girl boss, these characters don't have fatal flaws. They're just super awesome already. Rey didn't have a fatal flaw. She was super awesome all the way through. And people just can't relate to that.
And they have to deal with these dumb men who keep them from being the most awesome version of themselves. But wait, what you said earlier, please. You said we've all been womanizers. Were you a womanizer, Alan, in your early days,
No.
pre-marriage?
Okay, sorry. Chris, you are always a womanizer.
No. Years ago,
the thing is, we've all had bad takes in life. Look, this last week for me, on last few days on X have been my bad takes, and getting called out on them. We've all had bad takes. We all learn from these journeys and these adventures. I mean, quite frankly, the story that stands out to me with Johnny Storm was this was the John Byrne run, but Johnny fell in love with this really hot woman, Frankie Ray, and she becomes Galactus's herald and lost forever. And I'm like, oh, Johnny, you lost a good one. And it's those things, that those little storylines, those things that we can relate to, that connects us with those comic characters, connects us with the stories and the journeys they go on. And that's why they never become the perfect person at the end, and why they should never become the perfect person at the end. Because then we can't relate to them.
They have shades of doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they're flawed. Flawed characters are interesting. Perfect characters that do everything perfect are boring. And you could see Johnny being a womanizer, and then the two women he's dating kind of meet, and then he's caught, and then he has accountability. It doesn't mean they can't be accountable for bad behavior. Being accountable for bad behavior and learning lessons is part of life. That's why I thought She-Hulk was interesting at the beginning of the series, because what a bitch. What a narcissistic, self-centered bitch that could have grown, but no, she didn't. And neither, I mean,
she got worse.
By the way, look up another comic where Johnny Storm, there's like a multiverse version of Johnny called Guard, spelled Gaard, that is Johnny Storm wearing a hockey costume. Make of that what you will. I didn't like when they changed Johnny Storm's costume to a red costume. I thought that looked lame.
Well, I didn't like when they made Iceman gay, but
well, I didn't like that either. I thought, what's the point? That was a self-insert by Bryan Singer, if you ask me. But make of that what you will.
No, that was early X-Men, wasn't it? I mean, no, I'm sorry, all new X-Men. In the last run,
I felt he really pushed that character. So
okay,
whatever. In any case, I'm still cautiously optimistic. I hope they're just pandering to the media, but these quotes are not going to help the movie.
Yeah.
So
let me give you my last thought. Stop these press tours. Just let the movie speak for itself. Don't let your actors say things, because that's the problem, is they're tainting the movie.
Right.
And, just put the movie out. Stop. Save yourself some money. Stop the press tour.
Yeah, and I'll just say, to sum up, actors are dumb. They should not be doing interviews or having original thoughts. And my experience of actors, they have no original thoughts. They parrot things they hear from others, and they're surrounded by morons, and they're just repeating what they hear.
Well, the definition of an actor is someone who pretends to be a normal person.
And you would know, you work with actors.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go to your comments here.
All right. CD69, with that headline, I believe when the guy yelled, Fantastic Four is effed, was 100% correct.
Well, watch Versus on Monday.
All right. Immortal Remus for $4.99. Speaking of comic book shops, if you guys are ever in Reading, Berkshire, England, UK, check out one of my favorites called Crunch Comics.
I always look for a comic shop when I go to a local, because everyone does things differently, has different collections, rare stuff. I am so fortunate in Pasadena. I have 2 comic shops walking distance from where I live, Comics Paradise and Comics Factory. And then there's a great bookshop called Book Alley They have a huge comic section. They carry records, DVDs, and rare books. Book Alley in Pasadena is epic.
All right. Kate C, aka Snake Plush Kitten, for 10. Next week I'll turn 76. I read the Fantastic.
Happy birthday, happy pre-birthday, Kate.
Yeah. I read the Fantastic Four as a preteen. Sue was one of my heroes. She called out Reed on his shit without being a bitch. She was never a doormat. She was a equal member of the Fantastic Four. You got to watch that language there. It's
I read all the early comics. I remember I read like 1 through 100 of FF. I mean, I bought them in reprint, to be fair, because I started reading comics in the 70s. But
I've held the Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer, and Galactus comics in my hands. They're right there.
Gary Beekler has every issue.
Rudy for 5. If a character is flawed now, it's not seen as flawed like She-Hulk, and there's no growth, and no growth is awful, just like perfect characters.
Yep.
From over on Rumble, Matthew Hammond for 5. Let's talk about G20 when we
we'll get to G20.
All right. M for 2. Dropping by to say
sup at work.
At work. Oh, I thought she was talking to at work. At work, dropping by to say sup. Have a chill weekend. Oh my god, I can't read.
You too.
Can't read today. JTPRX, did anyone say this will be the gayest Fantastic Four ever?
Well, they did now.
BMO better. Whenever I hear modern audiences or reimagining, I stop caring. You're not the only one. Nick XH, member for 13 months. Sounds like the writers are writing as themselves.
Yep.
Write what you know. ADL is 24. So Johnny is a nebbish gay now. Mm-hmm. Chad Miller, she's going to kick Galactus in his space nuts, isn't she? Or she'll, never mind. Beersaurus Rex, emotional intelligence just seems to mean thinking emotionally, not rationally.
And we're to limit comments, unfortunately.
This is the B20 comment.
Oh, sorry about that, Alan. Okay. Pivoting. What other topic would you like to do before we get to our reviews? By the way, we've got a ton of reviews and 45 minutes to review them.
All right. I'm just going to pick one, and it's the...
You tell me what it is.
Yeah, okay. Hollywood agrees with Film Threat on China.
What is going on here, Alan?
Okay, let's pull this baby up.
So you put together a chart of the box office, was very insignificant to the total box office. So
let me just bring the chart up one more time. I've got to be upfront and honest. Some of my numbers were off, and so I have updated it. But you can see that China consists of 5% of the top 10 movie box office from last year, resulting in a total of $100 million going to studios. The item of note here is Godzilla versus Kong, which I misreported it, but it made $124 million, which was 23% of the box office. The reason that's significant is because China was a partial owner of Legendary at the time Godzilla versus Kong came out, and so I believe it got a push that other films wouldn't have gotten.
Gotcha.
So you're looking at, you take Kong versus Godzilla out of it. China is roughly $80 million of total box office last year that went to the studios, because I'm taking the 25% here. But let's get to the article. And here we go. The article comes from The Wrap. And it says, film industry takes latest China threats in Trump trade war in stride for now. When asked about China's plan to cut back on Hollywood's films it approves for release in the theaters in response to its tariffs, President Donald Trump responded with a chuckle, saying, "I think I've heard of worse things." Trump may not have been friends in Hollywood, but based on what studio insiders have told The Wrap on Thursday, the response from the film industry to China's move against them is closer to the president's outright indifference than any significant worry. That's because Hollywood has already largely made the adjustment to life without China after the country decoupled its rapidly rising market from American imports during the last surge of political tensions in the early stages of Joe Biden's presidency. Look, only 8 U.S. films grossed over $100 million in China since 2021. The biggest being Avatar: The Way of Water. But 8 films over 100 million. And let me see. Yeah, I think
or 100 million, or 1/3 of a Snow White.
Right. 2019 Hollywood films that topped over 100 million. Endgame was 632 million. That's from China alone. Hobbs and Shaw 208. Let me see. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much the gist of it. But apparently Hollywood agrees with us and has long since moved on from China. China not being a big player.
Well,
and then China has already confirmed that they are reducing the number of U.S. films going into Chinese theaters to, I believe, a dozen. So, and the impact is going to be minimal. I mean,
can I tell you why?
Why?
Part of, and every country outside the U.S. understands this. They make movies about their culture, to export their culture. When you see a French film, like a film like Amélie, is very French. In fact, the director recently came out and said he couldn't do a follow-up to Amélie or do Amélie 2 because Paris is ugly now. But you make films about your culture, whether it's Spain, Mexico, France, the UK. You make movies that are they're foreign films, European films. They're about the culture, and I've always loved movies outside of America. I like those movies. It's like Americans and Hollywood are embarrassed to make American movies. Justine Bateman has suggested there be a council to make American films, and I think she's talking to Trump about trying to do something to promote movies that promote American culture. And what are you doing by doing that? And you may not know about this, Alan. For example, there is the CFB. What is the CFB? The Canadian Film Board. What do? They fund movies with money from the government to make movies that are Canadian directors, Canadian stories, Canadian actors, and they are made not only for a Canadian audience, but to export the culture. Whether I mean, look, French films or Italian films, they export the culture. Hey, I would love to travel to Italy. I would love to travel to France. You probably saw some French films, but what is it about Hollywood being embarrassed to make American movies? It's baffling. It's baffling.
Yeah, a great example is RRR, a decidedly Indian movie, but had themes in it that Americans can relate to.
100%. So, I feel like stop making movies for global audience. What it does is it gentrifies movies, American movies. It gentrifies them. It makes them, let's make them for all people. Oh, I'm frozen.
Yeah, right.
Don't worry about it. I'll be back.
Yeah, well,
but I'm just saying that like it gentrifies the films and the topics of these movies. So
yeah. Well, I'll close by saying that this story that I brought up just came from the fact that the mainstream media would rather publish a story that is negative toward Trump than actually look and investigate the truth of the situation. You know, the big headline was China is going to ban all U.S. films. This is going to have a devastating effect on Hollywood. What a real journalist would have done is what I did, and go and look at the numbers and just see what is that impact. What is, what is pulling out of 2024? What is that impact going to be on the industry? And you realize that China, for a very long time, and to the Rap's credit, they confirm it, for a very long time have not been a player in Hollywood. That Hollywood is not has as they say long removed China as budget consideration. Let's go back again. I just want to point out from the chart here that Yeah, I mean, if you look at it here, China not only does China not is not a player in the game, but their take from the box office is 25%. I'm sorry, is 75%. The studio gets 25% in return, and that's $100 million. You can't even make a Marvel movie with $100 million. So that's where we're at. Just regarding the mainstream media, the reason people don't follow you is because you don't tell the truth. You don't do your due diligence. You just put up headlines that rile the world up without having any facts behind it, and that's what we tried to do here. Let's go to your comments. There we go. Suns and Shadows. Sorry, we got that. Yeah, let's move down. Here we go. From Kate C, aka Snake Plush Kitten for 5. Chris, I bought those comics for 12 cents at Berry Drugs on Woodward. Yeah, I started when comics were 35 cents. Let's see where. Yeah, here we go. CD Sign 69. Every time I hear the talk about China in the movie industry, I hear that meme, don't trust China. China is asshole. China is a...
Can you say that in kind of a just
don't trust China. China is asshole. Asshole. Look, if people bring it up, but my family came to America 100 years ago. That's how far removed we are from China.
Yeah. All right. Have you gotten through all of these?
No, we just started. Sean Hu gifted 5 Film Dirt memberships. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Sean Hu. Appreciate that.
Uncle Jimmy, cheers to Alan for the research. Mainstream media sucks.
Well, the problem is they have the conclusion they want, which is Trump is wrong, before they write the article rather than doing the research. One last comment. We're going to go to our reviews. And by the way, the show will go long today. We have way too many films to review. My apologies to Alan and Lori.
Christopher Moonlight Productions. If China has taught us one thing, it's that we need to keep government out of films. Buddying up to government will turn you into John Cena, who we can't see in theaters anymore. I agree. I honestly don't think government should be funding movies.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other discussion.
We have 9 films to review.
Yeah.
So we are going to do 9 film reviews. We have an interview at the bottom of the hour for those watching us live. Want to let you know, we're talking to Secret Mall director Jeremy Workman. So we'll be doing that. But what review, if you set up, Alan, what film would you like to review first? We'll get to The Amateur, which I don't believe you've seen, but maybe The King of Kings.
No, I've seen The Amateur.
Oh, great. What would you like to start with?
Shall we?
Well, a warm-up review, like maybe The King of Kings.
Yeah, let's do that one.
Let's do that, Alan, because that's a movie I have not seen.
Yes.
It's Easter. Easter is coming. The King of Kings is coming, which is an animated movie about the life of Jesus. The pre-sales for this movie exceed Snow White by a significant amount, like 2 or 3 million. Additionally, this movie was made for a fraction of the cost of Snow White. Insane. So, Alan, tell me about The King of Kings.
Okay, so this is from Angel Studios. It's an animated story of the King of Kings, as told by Charles Dickens. The movie opens with Charles Dickens, played by Kenneth Branagh. He is performing A Christmas Carol, but his precocious little boy is ruining the whole thing, and he gets very angry and upset to the point where the wife of Charles Dickens, played by Uma Thurman, says, you need to tell him a different story, one about forgiveness. And so he goes home and tells him the story of Jesus, because that's the next book he's writing about Jesus. I love this movie. I think this will be, at least for kids, a classic Easter movie. Unlike Ben-Hur and The Greatest Story Ever Told, mostly Ben-Hur, I don't know that you would show Ben-Hur to small kids, but this is the one you would show. It is essentially a Reader's Digest version of the life of Jesus, from birth to the resurrection, and it's very well told. I saw it in a half full audience. good response there. I took my daughter and her boyfriend, who I kind of had mixed feelings. I don't know if they were going to like it. Both of them really love this movie. And in fact, my daughter wants me to buy it once it comes out on, once I can actually buy it. Yeah, I know. There's one thing that I found interesting about why this movie works, because you have this Dickens story, and then you have this kid with a cat, and the cat is voiced by D. Bradley Baker, who just does cat noises. He doesn't speak English at all. But so the kid is kind of like floating in between reality and the story of Jesus. And I remember when it first started, and this kid, I'm like, this is really annoying, and I don't know that this is going to work. And by the end, you realize just how much that kid and the cat was needed to keep kids interested in this story, because at least the Jesus part of the story is very serious. You know, adultery is thrown out there. You know, demon possession is thrown out there. And then you have this kid and the cat who kind of, you know, starts to learn the real message of Christianity and the death of Christ and forgiveness and God's love for the world. It's all now channeled in through this kid who kind of gets it. And you really feel this emotional journey this kid goes on. And I just found this very, very exceptional in terms of just how well told the story is, because I have seen too many stories about Jesus in Christian movies that are just not good. This is poised to be a classic. I don't know that I would push it over that line, but this is definitely a movie you would show kids every Easter.
So you reckon? Is it?
I
I have
absolutely
to ask. Is it a musical?
No. There's a
Okay.
song by Christian Chenoweth at the end. That's as musical as it gets. You know, during the credits. The other
All right.
thing is, if you Angel Studio has a promotion right now. Kids go free. If you go to their website, you can get free tickets for your kids to go see this movie.
Wow.
Yeah. And so go to Angel Studios website and you'll see the promotion there.
I like that. Should I dress up as a kid?
No, dress up as Jesus. When you,
Yeah, I could do that.
or one of his disciples. I should warn you, Mark Hamill plays Pontius Pilate in this movie.
All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
all right. He plays
Let's
the
go to
villain.
comments. We're going to do limited comments between every review.
Yeah, knee
because
pain
we
for
have
two. Love.
9
film. Oh, what?
No, sorry, just because we have 9 films to
Yeah, that's
review.
why I started
today.
reading right away, so you don't have
I'm
to. constantly
sorry,
explain it.
Alan. I'm sorry.
So that we can save some
Love
time
Knee
if I
Pain.
just jump into it.
Subscribe
rather
to Knee
than-
Pain.
Knee pain for two. Love film threat. Long live film threat. Long shows are welcome.
All right.
AD Ellis, how does it compare to the Prince of Egypt, though?
Prince of Egypt, by the way, great music in
Yeah,
that.
great music, and I think that's what sets it apart. Great music, and I do believe it skews for a very broad audience, not just kids.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, AD
D-Sign
Ellis.
69, King of Kings was a decent movie, but I couldn't get past Oscar Isaac's voice as Jesus. It just didn't fit, probably because I've seen too many of them, too many things with him in it.
Yeah, maybe that, it could be a distraction.
Well, then pretend he didn't voice it.
Yeah. Let's do another review next, and we'll get to the amateur. How about a film that you haven't seen, Alan? Drop.
Yep.
Let's get to Drop. Drop is a romantic thriller about a young woman, Violet, who has a son, Toby. She was previously in an abusive relationship that ended badly. She's getting into the dating scene after years of being a single mom. Her young sister Jen comes to babysit Toby, and she's going to meet Henry for a date at a very, very fancy restaurant, Palette. It's a sky view of Chicago, beautiful. Nothing could be better than this date. And Henry is played by Brandon Sklenar, and Violet's played by Megan Fahey. She goes on the date and begins getting airdropped. They call it something else in the movie. They call it Digi-drop. She's getting drops from someone who wants her to do something bad. There is an intruder in her home, which she can see on camera. And if she doesn't do what the person who's dropping her the drops says her son will die. Here's the worst part. Almost all this I'm saying, everything is ruined in the trailer except maybe the last third of the movie. And I got to say, I really like the tone of this film. It's very entertaining. But I'll tell you, if I was on a date with a woman who was acting like this, I think I probably would have left. But she's presented
trying
with
to murder you. You would drop a date with a woman who would
try to murder me. I would not like to go on that date. I will say this: the audience ate it up. It is really weird where it's like there's a gay waiter in the movie that really tries to steal the spotlight. And the screening we were in, I swear his whole family showed up because they were howling every time he was on screen. I'm not exaggerating. So, and I gotta say, like this, the first half of the movie is like a movie that Hitchcock would have made if there were cell phones in the 50s or 60s. Like it's very Hitchcockian thriller. Violet is trying to keep what's happening from Henry. She's having to go on all these missions. She has to go in the bathroom to do something, and she's being made to do all these things right in front of the date by keeping it from him. And who could this person be who's manipulating her? Is it the man at the bar, the piano player? Is it the waiter? Is it the woman behind the bar? Who is doing this? Well, all is revealed, and what it is, it's a colossal disappointment. Obviously, I will not spoil it. It's, of course, the person you least expect, which is actually more than a few people. And the last third is utterly ridiculous. The trailer kind of ruins most of it. I think if I hadn't seen the trailer, I probably would have enjoyed this more. But in the end, while I was entertained, it's hard to recommend this movie. It gets colossally dumb at the end. And the actual ending is you're just sort of, what the heck? So while I think the cast did as well as they could in the circumstances, it's PG-13, might have been better R. But
by dumb, do you mean far-fetched?
Yes, far-fetched. You cannot believe what's happening. It goes beyond believability to ridiculous. But I'll tell you this, I was never bored. It's 90 minutes. I wasn't bored. I was just disappointed. So, I mean, make of that what you will. It's one of those movies that we say this a lot, probably a streaming movie. It's more of a streaming movie than anything else. So I'm not recommending it, but if you went to see it, you probably wouldn't be disappointed. You'd be like, that was fine. So
see, that's our new rating. I got to the end.
I got to the end. It's a streaming movie. Meh. That is most movies we've talked about this year, oddly. So there you go. So, but I gotta say, like the cast, they really, really went for it. Mm-hmm. But again, the premise is completely unbelievable. And don't download DigiDrop. Let's go to your comments.
Yes, Mike MC Wong. Hey, Mike. I like Drop. The end wasn't good, but when she was in the restaurant, it was good.
Yeah. The third act just gets far-fetched.
Yeah, that's the thing is a lot of these movies, the idea, the premise behind it is really good and you can build it up. It's just paying it off at the end that becomes the problem. Brock Samsonite, movies like this are so stupid. I watched the trailer and immediately checked out when I saw a waiter die in front of the girl in the trailer. Why does she have to kill her date if the murder PTL? The murder is PTL. Okay. Eric K 199. Chris, don't let people know it was her son. Jay Patrick, it was Agatha all along. And then from Film Threat, she has to go to the bathroom to do things. Chris Gore.
That's my quote.
That's your quote.
What should we review next, Alan?
Let's see.
You pick. Dealer's choice.
Yeah, let's just get the let's get the friend out of the way.
All right. I did not. Well, Alan, if you would. I did not see The Friend, but I was interested. Bill Murray. Naomi
Bill Murray's
Watts.
in it.
Two actors I like.
Yes.
And also, I watched the trailer, and I'm like, it's a movie about a dog. Alan
Okay.
should see it.
Yeah, yeah, thanks. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
talk about The Friend. The Friend stars Naomi Watts as Iris. She is a writer, a well-established writer. Her teacher, her mentor, her colleague is Bill Murray, is Walter, played by Bill Murray, and Walter commits suicide all of a sudden. Everyone around them, Walter's a brilliant writer. People love him as well. He teaches at a university, so he's well known. People know him, and he lives. He had a wife and a dog. The dog here you see, dog is a giant Great Dane, and in passing, the wife can't take care of the dog anymore, and so she tells Iris that Walter wanted her to take care of the dog, and I wish I could tell you the dog's name. And through much protesting, Iris says no. The main reason is she lives in an apartment that doesn't allow pets. So
good excuse.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, she out of respect for Walter, she takes the dog, and now the landlords know, and if she doesn't get rid of the dog, she's gonna get kicked out of the apartment. And that, my friend, is the story of The Friend.
Well, I saw the trailer. Does Bill Murray's character show up like a ghost?
No, it's flashbacks.
So
Okay.
it's flashbacks?
Okay. Look. I'm gonna say yes, and out of fear of spoilers, it's not a ghost. It's kind of
not a
like
ghost,
her
it's like a
interacting with
memory or like his
she's
presence?
she's interacting with the memory of him, which
Gotcha.
because the film, as much as it's about saving her apartment, it's about grief, and a lot of the grief is represented in the dog because the dog is just really unable to get, it just loved Walter so much that it's just depressed, and then it's kind of like, how can Iris connect with the dog? And look, in improv, when I do improv comedy, you're doing something. Oh, I'm going to go shop for this. But the improv scene, if it's about shopping for something, it's a bad movie. This one, it's about saving her apartment, but it's really not about saving her apartment. It's about coming to grips with Walter's loss, the loss for the dog, and kind of dealing with grief and what her connection with Walter is. It's all this to say is this is a super dramatic movie. And you take this weird, simple plot and you overlay it with a dramatic story about grief. You just have this kind of weird movie that feels a little bit pretentious. In terms of Bill Murray, he gives probably one of the most dramatic performances. I don't think there's no intention of him ever, being Bill Murray. He's just he's being an actor and playing a real person. Look, I appreciate what they're going for. But when you pull back, there's this hour-and-a-half movie about grief, and we've seen it all before. There's something pretentious about the characters in the sense of they're from New York City, they're writers, they're artists.
They're very self-important. Yes, I've seen 100 movies like that at Sundance.
Okay,
where it's like I hate to even say this, but it's like it's not white people's problems. It's rich, elite white people's problems that are elevated to like, everyone can relate to this. What am I going to do with my inheritance and my, oh God. And it's like, I've seen so many movies like that. I would not put that in on white people so much, but it's elites problems of elites.
Mm-hmm.
And these movies are ultimately just forgettable and dull.
Okay, so I'm going to put up the spoiler warning here. So I'm going to say something. It's a spoiler. If you want to see the movie and not, just hold on for a minute.
Okay.
Mute. But they even mention it in the film because these are writers. But the ending of The Friend, and again mentioned in the film before it happens, it's a typical ending to a dog movie. Chris, what is the typical ending of a dog movie?
The dog dies.
That's right.
No.
And I'm like,
No!
because they talk about it. They go, they list off all these movies where the dog dies at the end, and I'm like, okay, finally, a movie where the dog doesn't die, and the dog dies.
Does the dog end himself like Bill Murray to just end the
Yeah,
movie?
I will keep
Oh my
that as
God.
a spoiler. I will keep that as a non-spoiler, but
All right.
don't talk about the ending right now.
Well, thank you for. I will not be seeing this film.
Yeah.
I was out when I saw the trailer.
It is just so inconsequential. I mean, you have these great actors in it, and it just becomes, it's about a dog.
Let's go to your comments.
All right. Khalid, Bill Murray, a ghost. Who are you gonna call? BMO Better. No, that might be about the spoiler. Is that it?
There you go. That's enough.
Okay, that's it.
We're doing
Okay.
limited comments today. Hey, let's talk about The Amateur.
Yeah, I did see this.
Yeah. The poster, Alan, if you would.
Lori's doing posters.
Oh, well, there you go. Thanks. The Amateur. Rami Malek, Oscar winner. Rami Malek returns in a role that is, a surprise. He works for the CIA. He's an analyst. He has written software. He can track anyone down. He's a genius in this category. And Rami Malek is brilliant at what he does. He plays Charles Heller, and his wife Sarah, played by Rachel Brosnahan, is on a work trip in London when she is unceremoniously killed by terrorists. Rami Malek is, of course, devastated by this news, and he wants to kill the people responsible for the death of his wife. He blackmails people in the agency, a higher up named Moore, played by Holt McCallany, who's a tough guy in a lot of movies. And he does have a buddy at the agency. John Bernthal plays a buddy of the agency. He's more of a badass killer in the field, but Rami Malek's character Charles doesn't go in the field. He's the guy at the computer. And let's be fair, Rami Malek is a short king. He is a slight, svelte guy that you could not see getting in a fight. Lawrence Fishburne, he's after he
wants revenge.
He wants revenge. So he blackmails Moore into sending him to this camp to be trained to be in the field. So he goes to Henderson, played by Lawrence Fishburne, who gives him training. Basically finding out if Rami Malek, if Charles had a gun pointed, he would not be able to shoot it. He doesn't have the killer instinct, but he has the smarts, and he knows the 4 people responsible for the death of his wife. He travels then to Europe to track them down, and each one is sort of each person he goes after is kind of a level to defeat.
Yeah, mini bosses.
A mini boss, but I'll say this. Thankfully, one thing the movie does is not make Rami Malek like a badass.
A boy boss.
He's not a badass. Physically, he is not intimidating. He uses a different set of skills to accomplish tasks. And the trailer ruined one of the best bits. A guy in a swimming pool above 2 towers. He takes this guy out with explosives. And so each sort of mini boss building to the main villain is a challenge unto itself.
Can I speak to that for a second?
They don't turn him. Thankfully, they don't turn him into John Wick. Yeah. He's not John Wick. He is, again, I don't mean this as an insult, just an observation. Rami Malek is a short king, okay? He just is. But a badass in different ways.
He never wins a fist fight. Let's put it that way.
He will definitely not win any fist fight and doesn't win. So in that way, the film was realistic. I found it a little dull at times. It kind of drags in parts. I thought it was somewhat predictable. Some of it was clever. at some parts. John Bernthal was great. And Lawrence Fishburne always delivers. So he has a really good supporting cast.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, I thought the film was fine. I give it a bare recommend at probably a 6 for me. So I saw it in IMAX. I don't know why it needed to be in IMAX. It was okay. I love IMAX movies. I will see anything in IMAX.
Yeah.
But it didn't make the movie better. So I give it a bare recommend at 6. It's a movie you would see on streaming and go, that was good. Which is a lot of movies these days. Alan, what did you think of The Amateur?
The Amateur, I agree with you. It's okay. Look, the premise is good. I like the idea that it's a normie who wants to avenge the death of his wife, but doesn't have the physical skills to do it, so he has to do it some other way. And he never gets the physical skills to actually do it.
He does not.
Yeah.
There's no way. It's like, give this movie credit. There's no training montage where suddenly he can do close-up fighting, like where people are just. By the way, having seen a lot of movies, can we end something? Can we end close-up fighting? There is some of that in the movie with Lawrence Fishburne, and whatnot.
You need some awareness of the action that is happening.
Like, it's just this fighting style that is pencil, a straw, and like people are. It's so choreographed. It's like they have the same fight choreographer for every movie now. The fighting style is the same. It's John Wick close-up combat. It's boring. So, and there's not a lot of that in this movie, but when it happens,
there is a training montage, but he fails it all.
Yeah, he fails
so
it.
Like, there's a point where he just gives up. It's just, I can't do this.
Yeah, he can't do it.
Okay, so the biggest issue I have with the movie is the trailer, because you talked about the swimming scene. We all know how, if you seen the trailer, you know how it ends, which means the moment you realize that his next target is the swimming guy, you check out because you know how it's going to end, and that's a good 10 minutes of the movie. The second boss, there's 4 bosses, four people to take down. The main boss at the end, the pool guy's the second one. The third one, we also know how he dies. And again, once the trap has been set, it's just, you're just sitting back, just waiting for it to happen.
It's a very spectacular scene, but you're right. It was ruined in the trailer, and there are 4 people he's going after. So,
yeah, the first one was pretty cool.
The first one was cool, but I knew nothing. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Exactly.
That was actually good.
Cool. And that's why it was cool. Let's see. The other thing is, so as a film, I give it a pass. I give it a bare recommendation because I think you'll enjoy it. You're not. The thing I thought was interesting was the overall plot, because it seems so far-fetched. Can you imagine in reality if longtime members of the CIA were operating on their own and disregarded everything the president asked them to do? Can you imagine? Can you imagine if that was real life?
I can't believe that. It's not believable. That would never happen.
No, absolutely. And having said that, there's a character who is the director of the CIA, and they might as well have named her Tulsi Gabbard.
Yes. You're right.
So look, I don't know the politics of the writers, but I appreciate at least this aspect of the movie, that this fictional deep state may exist, and that there are people within the CIA who are willing to take it down. I appreciate that, and so it moves up a little bit in terms of my recommendation.
Look, we know from the news there's no deep state.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Yeah.
Let's go to your comments here. By the way, Alan, I'm going to take a quick break to grab
G20
coffee.
still. This is still.
Oh, sorry about that. I'm going to go take a quick break, grab coffee. You read comments, and then we'll do G20. Okay. I'll be right back.
All right. Just so we can get rid of that
Sorry,
comment.
man. Hey, I appreciate you. I'll be right back.
Special Agent Bill Maxwell. I have a very particular set of certifications. Or I have a very particular set of certifications. Let's see. Moving along to Super Chats. Alejandro Montoya Marin. This looks like B-movie heaven. Yeah, except they spent a lot of money on it. And then Alejandro, you also say, I used to love trailers. Can't stand them now. There was one trailer a long time. I think it was The Invitation or something. We had the director on, but the trailer ruined the movie. Absolutely ruined it by spotlighting the twist at the end, or twist in the middle of it. All right. Daniel B. Actually, Lori, if you could find a few more comments, that would be helpful as well. Daniel B. It's implying there's a master behind the curtains. No? Well, yeah, again, fiction. Let's see. RPTRX. Rating for the amateur. It's an amateur movie. There you go. Okay. Davina Duckworth. Bohemian Supremacy. Brock Samsonite. This seems just like John Wick for nerds. Yeah. There you go. Here we go. C. Stein 69. It's out of the realm of possibility, Alan. Also, that the CIA would do nothing to people that have committed crimes against American citizens either. Yeah, I mean, look, all respect to the CIA. Davina Duckworth, perhaps they should hire a beekeeper or a working man. Cameron Scott, we all want the movie. We all want the movie about the CIA trying to assassinate Clark Kent and not understand why they keep failing. Yes. All right. Do you have
I'm back.
Okay, we're back.
I'm back. Let me just let's set up G20, if you would. I'm sitting down. I'm doing the SpongeBob meme as we speak. Did you?
I mean, the poster alone makes me want to watch this movie. And
wait, Alan, tell me the story of G20.
Okay.
Tell me the story. I'm dying.
So let's pretend that Kamala Harris won, and we have our first black president. And not only
black female president.
Sorry.
Yes.
And not only is she president, but not only did she run for president, but she has military skills. She's been in combat. She has a husband and 2 kids, and they're about to head off to the G20 summit to introduce the president's new plan to help farmers get money quickly, who help African farmers get money quickly so they can buy seeds and save Africa. And so during the G20 meeting, a bunch of terrorists come in and capture all the G20 world leaders in the room, except, of course, not the president. Just like Air Force One, the president is able to escape thanks to her military skills and her top Secret Service agent, Guardian. And so can the president save the rest of the leaders? Also, her family is in there, and if the terrorists can't find the president, let's go after the family. And of course, the villain of this movie is Homelander, played by Anthony Starr, who is very much a super villain in this movie. Can the president overcome odds, save the day, not only save the nation, but save the world? That's G20.
Well, dude, this movie is laughable from the beginning. And you find out later in the film that she kind of became president because of this famous photograph that was on the cover of Time or Newsweek, where she's carrying a child in a military gear. And she admits later that was kind of like, I wasn't really a badass. I just picked up this kid and walked away. Dude, this movie is so laughable. You forgot to mention her precocious daughter.
Oh, we'll get into that.
Oh my God. The annoying precocious daughter, Serena Sutton, played by Marseille Martin. Oh, and then Anthony Anderson as her husband.
Yeah.
The sort of like, it's just everything about this movie is so laughable, from her in the high heels, and she immediately switches to flats. She has these tennis shoes, and she's in this badass red dress. How many movies have been in production or been made with a black female president that are going to come out where they'll feel so dated because that's not what happened?
Like The Woman King, maybe?
Well, no, and to be fair, I'll tell you one thing about this movie. Viola Davis, I think, is a very good actress who has gravitas. She is believable as that character. It's just a dumb movie.
Yeah, it's like
a
casting
dumb
Daniel
story.
Day-Lewis to be in this movie.
It's just, I like Viola Davis. She is great as Amanda Waller. She has gravitas. You know, as a character, as an actress, you know, much better than Julia Louis-Dreyfus in The Thunderbolts, who is weightless and laughable. Viola Davis, like,
Yeah, it's
like,
funny you
is
mention
great as a-
because
she's-
Julia Louis-Dreyfus is the counterpart to Amanda Waller.
Well, I'll say this. You know, Viola Davis is a badass actress. Action star? No. Not a believable action star. And it's kind of just, and then she has the her head of the Secret Service that protects her, the guy who's like super loyal to her.
Yeah.
You know, played by Ramon Rodriguez as Agent Manny Ruiz. I don't know where's
She
Paul?
pronounces it Ruiz.
Ruiz. Okay, Ruiz. Anyways, just all of this is cringe, the action movie. It is so cringe and laughable. And the whole G20 thing is also about, you know, it's about crashing different monetary, you know, different like it's crashing the dollar in favor of crypto. That's what it's about.
I need to address that.
Yeah.
This is one of those movies where the villain states his true motive and his true purpose.
Yeah.
And he states it, and I'm like, I 100% agree with the villain. The idea is that, you know, in order to get money to farmers, what we're going to do is we're going to convert the world's currencies to digital currency. So that's the fast way to get money to the farmer. Because, of course, the government would never use that for nefarious purposes. The government would never use your crypto bank or your digital bank account to just shut it off so you have zero access to your money. That's what the villain is saying, is that the government, if they go digital to digital currency, the government now has access to your funds to where they could just take it away willy-nilly. And
no government, including Canada, would ever do that.
Never did. Would never shut down someone's
What's weird is this is another movie I've seen where, like, the villains, I'm like, I kind of agree with the villains. Like,
I know. and then it's like the best thing about crypto is the fact that the government cannot control it. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. That's probably one of the best things about cryptocurrency.
It is.
Cryptocurrency is, quite frankly, I'll just say it, it's a Ponzi scheme, but at the same time, it's government hands off, which is why I think the government wants so much to get into crypto. But that's politics, and we're not here for politics.
No politics. But I'll tell you this: this is just. And by the way, I don't think this movie is overtly woke. It's just bad.
No, it's
What?
overtly woke. It's overtly woke.
Well, there is this one line that, oh my God, it's so awful. Her daughter, these special forces, black special forces come in. Her daughter's there and says, "Oh, what are you from, Wakanda?" That's a line in the movie.
Okay, let me just address the daughter, and we just acknowledging our guest is here, but the daughter falls into the trope that we've seen in many movies recently. It's about the black teen girl STEM genius. Because she's able to hack into the government security systems and save the day. And I'm like, okay, we've seen this. The other comment I want to make is when people, for a lot of movies we've been reviewing in the past, people have been saying, oh, the story was written by AI. I 100% guarantee you this movie was written by AI. Because it incorporates all the dumb tropes of the political thriller like this, but does it to a degree that is not as good as all the other ones. But every single trope is in this movie, and it just feels like the entire film has been phoned in. From
It's
start to
so
finish.
phoned in. Every line is cliche. I'm sitting there watching the movie. I know what they're going to say before they say it. It's a cliche moment with a cliche line. It's so lazily written. It's cringe. I don't think it's this. Look, it could have been very woke. It's not.
It is. I'm sorry.
No, it's not overtly.
It is woke. It is woke. People,
All right,
people will watch
I'm
it
saying
and
it's
agree with me.
terrible. It's terrible.
It's terrible.
Yeah. It's bad. It's cringe. It's like, but here's what's funny. I was laughing watching the movie. This movie just, you know what? This movie made me laugh. It's bad in every way it can be bad. And it's on Amazon Prime Video. You have to watch like 5 minutes of commercials before you see the film, but all I can say is this is a pass for me. But if you need a good laugh on like this is the end of woke, this movie. It really is the last breath of sort of overtly woke films, even though I don't think it's maybe it doesn't bother me as much as you.
Yeah,
I think because it's so bad in so many other ways that the woke part doesn't make it as bad as all the other bad things that make it bad. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but you're wrong.
Fine. Okay, do you recommend G20, Alan?
If you want to see something really bad, I recommend it.
Yes, if you want to see something bad and laugh at how bad it can be, see G20. Let's go to your comments here, starting with a very generous.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Francisco Sanchez Jr. for 20. Chris, if you haven't seen The Rule of Jenny Penn, you did. You might enjoy it. It stars John Lithgow and Jeffrey Rush as two men in a nursing home. Lithgow terrorizes Rush's character, who is wheelchair-bound. Fun stuff on Shudder.
I did see it, and we reviewed it on the channel. Thank you so much, Francisco.
ADL is Father Allen's woke needle is more sensitive and trusted than debaucherous Frank. Yep.
Just the thing is, I've seen indie. Let me just address this. I've seen indie movies for decades. They all have a level of wokeness. It doesn't bother me. I'm not as sensitive as Alan.
I'm just saying it hit the threshold in this movie.
It was the other things were worse about the movie than that part of the movie. The Wakanda line was
not the part.
Cringe.
It's not a part. It's a bunch of parts. Alejandro Montoya Moran, what's a better B movie, G20 or The Amateur? The Amateur.
I would say G20 is a B movie in the sense that it's badly written. Amateur is more serious.
Thomas Pickett for 10. You don't
Thanks,
need to you don't need to take the G20 hostage to crash the dollar. You just get the president with economic knowledge to stop in 1925 and impose tariffs.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. And Joker Jack Fatak. This movie is Revenge of Amanda Waller. Yeah, if she becomes president. Wes Ray. Not only is she president, but she's also a badass superhero, checking all the boxes. Let's be frank. Air Force One, exact same thing.
Yeah.
And Matthew Hammond for 5. Finally, G20 has the same problem. It should be called Girl Boss Down or Diversity Hire Has Fallen. Did you know there was a Girl Boss movie, Air Force One Down?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that. So there you go. All right. Alan.
Yes.
If you would. As we like to do on the show, we like to feature new independent films and talk to the filmmakers behind them. Let's talk to Secret Mall apartment director Jeremy Workman. He is here to talk about his documentary that played at South by Southwest. It's now coming to theaters. Hey, Jeremy, thanks for joining us on the show. Taking time.
What's happening? Of course.
Hey,
yeah, I put myself in the secret apartment for you guys. Look at this.
I love it. I love it.
I should say I felt bad because you sought me out at South by Southwest. And
I did. I think I even saw you like coming out of the movie, and I was like, Alan, oh my god.
I know. But
it was one of those,
I felt bad because
it was interactions.
Like, thanks, and then we just parted.
I know. It was one of those interactions though, which are always awkward for like filmmakers, where you see like, critics you admire and you like at a film festival seeing your movie, and you're just like, wait, I hope they liked it. I hope you liked it. So yeah, I totally remember that.
Well, I have to confess, Jeremy, I haven't seen the movie. I have seen the trailer, which I want to share with our audience. This thing looks epic. I've made documentary. I made a documentary myself. I know how hard it is, especially when it's archival documentary. So how did you get started? And then we'll take a look at the trailer, but tell us how the project began.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a bonkers story. It's so crazy. It's these 8 like artists, instigators, troublemakers, whatever they are. They were mad about this mall coming into their town in Providence, Rhode Island. You know, it kind of demolished their neighborhood. It gentrified it. You know, development gone to hell. And they decided they would do something, and they snuck into the mall, which is this busy mall. I'm sure your viewers and listeners know it's Providence Place Mall in Rhode Island in Providence. They snuck in, they found a secret space, they decided to move in. And it was a kind of Providence legend for many years. And a lot of filmmakers were trying to make this documentary. Even like scripted, even studios were coming at these people asking about a scripted version. And somehow, you know, I felt like I was like in this like right place, right time, maybe had the right pitch. You know, I made it my previous film they really liked, the one before that they had seen. So like I just felt like I was like in this perfect spot for them to say yes. And fortunately they did. Maybe the time was right.
Well, I got to say, Alan has been raving about this documentary since he saw it at South by. I'm so happy to have you here. Let's take a look at the trailer and give people a taste of this movie. This trailer is amazing.
This is an incredible
No.
tale. Artists set up an apartment inside Providence Place Mall, going undetected for years.
Let's start it over. Let's start it over. Let's start it over here.
Play the audio.
No, we're starting it over. We're professionals here, Alan. So let's start it over. Here we go. I don't want people to miss a second of this.
This is an incredible tale. Artists set up an apartment inside Providence Place Mall, going undetected for years.
We all hated the mall when it went up, right? Nobody wanted that to happen.
Shortly after, a developer comes in and says, I'm going to knock down your home.
I just had this idea. Oh, we should live in the mall.
It seemed like a very absurd fantasy and perhaps a great challenge. When the mall was being built, I saw a space that I could not figure out what it would be used for. We went looking for that anomaly in the architecture, and we snuck ourselves in there, and we took out our flashlights. There it was. It started the conversation immediately.
We need to develop this underutilized space.
There was a real necessity to build a wall there. It was like 5,000 pounds of cinder blocks. It's important to emphasize there's this underlying sense of dread that we're going to get caught at any time.
Wow. So what is it? Is it a prank? Is it a work of art? Is it a social experiment?
It was like this alternate universe that's within the real world.
It talks about gentrification, capitalism, everything being commodified.
The apartment was the side project to the other stuff.
We were like a little elite strike force team of empathetic artists.
Such a magic thing to take a space from the mall.
Holy smoke.
I gotta say, I love the trailer. I wanted people to see it. So I think so. I'll call you out one thing. Why is there no film threat quote?
I know.
From Alan.
We
will approve any quote they want.
Yeah, I mean, Alan had just such a wonderful review too. There really should be. That is, seriously.
Now,
Yeah,
is the
I mean,
movie
to me,
coming
the
to
movie is the sheer audacity of your subjects here to not only it's one thing to just crawl into a space and live in it, but to actually create an apartment in that space with, I think there was a television there, certainly a couch.
Yeah,
and
there
a
was a
bed.
television, a PlayStation, and this went on for 4 years in this busy mall. It was not like, a quick little thing. They had this going on for 4 years, like evading security, going in and out of the mall, also eating at the food court, watching movies at the Cineplex, and they just kept it going. In their boldest move, which you see in the trailer, they decide to build a wall to kind of conceal the secret apartment even more, and they smuggle in 2 tons of cinder blocks through the mall and build this incredible wall.
Yeah, and almost got caught, which was
yeah, it's bonkers. And you see all of this because they also were filming this like nearly the whole time, and it gets into this in the film, but they had these little tiny cameras that they like bought at Radio Shack for $100. Don't forget, this is, the early 2000s, and they bought these little tiny cameras. All 8 of them had them, and they were just filming it for themselves. They weren't filming it because they wanted to make a documentary. They were filming it because they're like, really, unique thinkers and visionary artists. And they're like, we have to record this. And the footage they got is just, it's incredible. You can't believe what the footage you see. And it's like really low quality, but it's still really awesome.
Now, how did you gain their trust and then be able to make this? And what did you have to work with assets wise? Hundreds of hours?
Yeah.
How'd you go about this?
Well, as I mentioned, there was a number of filmmakers over the years that like went after them, and they always, these are artists with like a lot of integrity. They didn't want the project to be turned into this kind of like New York Post, sensational story. People lived in a mall, and I think they were worried about any movie like making it come off as like such a prank. Look, I love the prank stuff. I mean, I'm all in on the prank stuff. I love that. This is like the prank to end all pranks. But like, I know, they were also doing all this like really interesting artwork at the same time that was not pretentious, was not them trying to make a name for themselves. They weren't trying to get money. They were just doing this really interesting sort of charitable, really interesting stuff. They were going into hospitals in children's wards and like creating artwork there. They were creating memorials for 9/11 victims. They went to Oklahoma City on the reunion of those bombings and did memorials there. And they were doing this for like no recognition, no money, no anything. And I think maybe my pitch was that they really responded to was that I was so interested in that side of their stuff too, and how it like connected to this crazy secret apartment, so that it was more than just the story of, this incredible prank, which is incredible, but that it gets to these like other levels.
Now we've got nearly 2,000 people watching live and a lot of questions. Here's the website here. It's in theaters, or was in theaters a couple weeks ago.
It's in theaters now.
Great.
Yeah. And Chris, we're doing something cool. We're like, we were like, we're not streaming. Don't even ask us about streaming.
Good.
Yeah.
Hollywood can use that as advice.
Exactly. Like people are like, oh, where's it streaming? I'm like, it's not, people. It's in theaters. And we've really been focusing on theaters only. And we're now we'll be in 50 theaters this weekend. And we're already booked over, 120, 130, something like that.
Alamo Drafthouse downtown.
Oh yeah. We were
That's
at the
awesome.
LA Alamo Drafthouse. We were also at Vidiot's. Now we're in Santa Monica, but we're in a lot of great cities, whether it's Austin, San Francisco, Boston, all over Rhode Island and New England, New York. We've been killing it at the IFC Center. So yeah, I'd love you guys to check it out in a theater.
secretmallapartment.com is the site. Let's go to questions from our audience here. Alan, if you would read these.
Sure.
There's a lot of questions. Wow. Here we go.
Okay. ADLS 24. With the release of this film and malls going the way of the dodo, have you heard any similar stories happening anywhere else in the U.S.? In fact, is the Providence Mall still thriving, or is it
So this happened, on the Providence Place Mall. I'm sure people know it. It's this big, huge mall on 95. And, it's having tough times, like a lot of malls, and I think what's so interesting also, you watch this movie and you're like, oh my God, this is only not even 20 years ago. And it was like a totally different era, this time when people went to malls, and malls were these centers of our lives and communities. And, there's so many movies we all grew up with, whether it's, Fast Times or Clueless or Dawn of the Dead, and malls are like so essential, but then you realize like, wow, we don't really have that anymore. But yeah, whenever there's another story about people secretly living somewhere, a million people email it to me like, here's another one. So yeah, I think people love doing this. There's a real fantasy of living in something like this.
More comments and questions here.
The real Mallrats.
It's true.
Dutch McColland.
He's right.
Solomon Thornton. Archival documentary sounds cool.
Yeah, the archival, and Chris, I know you asked about the archival. They had filmed 25 hours of footage when they were in the secret apartment. And, which is great, for a documentary filmmaker. You're just like, oh my God, this is awesome. But it still was like limiting, but they got such incredible stuff. They have interactions with security guards. They have deep conversations about what it all means. They talk about gentrification. One of them, accuses another of them being squatters, and they're not. It's just like, even from this like really low res video, it just got like incredible stuff.
All right, ADL 24 again. Does the film go from addressing the anti-corporate culture of Mallrats of days past to the loss of mall culture in our current society?
Not so much. I think it really looks at this time period where malls came in, and, in the case of Providence, they built this mall. They thought it was going to help swing all the economy of their city. And it was just like this horrible idea. And these people responded in that way. But sort of like what I'm saying, like you watch it now and you can't help but think like, oh, wow, all the dead malls in our country. And I heard recently that there's only going to be like 100 malls in a few years because they're just dropping more and more.
Especially the indoor ones, like that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
More comments here.
Yes. From Rachel Mollier, the elderly millennial. I saw this at the Portsmouth Film Festival, and it's amazing.
Thanks, Rachel.
I got to ask you, though.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you, but Jesse Eisenberg is one of your producers. How did he get involved, and what kind of role did he play in the film?
Jesse's been a big supporter of like my films. This is the second film of mine that he produced. The first one was for a documentary I made called The World Before Your Feet, where it's about a guy walking every street of New York City. And Jesse just like loves, I don't know, he just loves these kind of offbeat stories. And I think he loves the idea of like not having to like go and shill and hawk for his own movie. He doesn't have to be like, oh, Now You See Me Too. What an incredible script. Like he loves just supporting, other films. He did 25 Q&As for The World Before Your Feet, which is crazy when you think about it. And he's already done a ton of Q&As for Secret Mall Apartment. So I think he really just loves it. He loves that side.
Amazing. All right. From Ruby for 2, literally Phantom of the Mall.
It's true.
It's Okay to Laugh asks, can you touch on your distribution? How did you find it? Any pitfalls? Because I saw the movie in 2023. So already
2024.
2020. That's right.
Last
2024.
Year.
Yeah. What was that journey like to finally get distribution?
Okay, so this is also kind of, maybe it's punk rock, maybe it's stupid. You guys tell me. I basically was like, these distributors, I don't know if they're that great these days to like cool indie edgy movies. So I went and I raised money, and we're self-distributing it, and we feel like. Good. Yeah, thanks. We're like, we could do a better job. We feel like we're more kind of tapped into viewers that want to see it, and we're just like not. We also like, I feel like distributors sometimes really prey on indie movies in a way that's not so great. So we're doing it ourselves, and we decided this was what we would do from the get-go.
I'm seeing it this weekend at the Draft House.
Sweet.
Because I didn't know it was like that. So that's awesome. And also you can do it. There are individual theaters, independent theaters. Yeah. You can just call them the Frida Cinema. My movie played there, a documentary. We played there, did a premiere there. Alan remembers it. I don't, but Alan told me about it. It was so that you can do this. And totally. even my movie, Attack of the Duck, it's distributed on digital through indie rights, but I have the Blu-ray rights. So there's all kinds of ways you can make up your own distribution.
Totally. And I think filmmakers, they kind of get into this mindset like, oh, did you get picked up? Did you get, what's going on? And, Alan knows another film of mine called Lily Topples the World. And that was like a big acquisition, like one of those.
Wasn't it National Geographic that picked up one?
It was Discovery.
Discovery, that's right.
Yeah, and it was like a big dollar and all that. But I kind of at the end of the day was like, I don't know if this is better than just us going out alone and kind of controlling it. And that was the big learning experience for me. And yeah, those indie theaters are great. They're like almost like little mini film festivals. They have their own people and mailing lists. They market. So yeah, people can really do that kind of stuff.
And they really, it's all grassroots. Like with the Frida, we do our award show there every year, Award This, which I assume you're eligible for, Alan. You'll be in this the next year.
Lily Topples the World was nominated for
yeah. We'll do like, award stuff this year, but we'll see. We're like more about just kind of sharing this movie with viewers. Cause people have so much fun watching it. They're just like, wow, it's kind of a reminder. First of all, it's a reminder that like, wow, documentaries can be really fun and entertaining too. But it's also like one of those like little small movies where you like have a blast when you see it in a movie theater. So like, that's also something that we think is just really cool.
I know. I was going to say with Lily Topples the World, this one and that one, memorable. I still think about your documentaries.
Oh, thanks.
Just because of the fun you have watching them.
Thanks. Yeah. Documentaries can be, they can be a little slow and stale, and they're like, it's like journalism, which is great. It's totally great, but it's not like cinema. And so I'm often trying to figure out like how to make things that are more like the movie going experience.
All right, Christopher Moonlight Productions filmmaker question. I've seen a good documentary that takes an obscure subject and makes it super exciting and engaging. Yet a bad one will take a popular one and make it boring. What is the trick to success?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I would say like, really getting in deep. And, I try to spend a lot of time. I really silo myself about trying to copy other movies. I just try to figure out a weird thing for me, which is if the subjects of the movie somehow were to make their own documentary on themselves, what would that look like as a documentary? And that sometimes guides how I make the movies. And it seems to works well in terms of like making stuff that kind of works.
And last question as we wrap up.
Okay, ADL is 24. With tree houses and clubhouses for kids becoming a thing of the past, have current generations of youth lost the imagination and sense of adventure needed to make such a space exist?
It's kind of true. So many kids are just kind of don't even think about that sense of adventure, that sense of exploration. And, so many kids grew up making forts and tree houses and clubhouses. And that's also seems like something that's kind of like we've lost a little bit. And, there's a book that keeps on popping up. People bring up in Q&As about this movie. I forget its title, but it's that one where the kids are living in the museum, the mixed up files of whatever. And I think there's like a real fantasy now with people. Like Chris, you touched on it at the top about like people like finding a space and like being, by themselves and that idea. And I think that whole thing is starting to get lost with some kids.
Go to secretmallapartment.com for a list of theaters playing the movie. It's at the Alamo Draft House in LA. and I'm going to see it this weekend.
Awesome.
Cannot
Yeah, it's at a
wait.
lot of Alamos. So like Alamo's really supporting us, and it's playing at Alamos all over the country too.
I love Alamos. They just bring the food to where you're sitting.
It's pretty good. And
I
the
really love
drinks.
it. Yeah, exactly. So, Jeremy, thank you so much for joining us on the show, taking time out. And I can't wait to see the movie. Alan literally has been talking about this.
Thanks, Alan. You're the
South
best.
by.
Again, there are movies, you see a lot of movies at festivals, and if you remember the one you love the most, it's a great movie. And
Thanks, Alan. So awesome. So awesome to be here. I had a blast.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeremy. Come back when your next movie comes out.
I will.
Cool. All right. Take care. Have a great weekend.
All right, see you around.
Bye. That was awesome.
Yeah, sorry, updating the award this nominations list here.
Do it. Do it. Like that'll be a nominee for next. We keep running list of movies we like, and then at the end of the year, it's a big battle for what gets nominated. So there you
The
go.
more prep you do, the easier it gets.
Now, quick comment here from WizEd, member for 3 months. Viola Davis is a woman president.
Yes.
That was after Woman King. That was probably the original title. Now, we have 4 more movies to review before today's show is over. I hope you stick with us. I can tell you this. One of them is very good that I saw. And I think Alan there's like 2 good ones and 2 ones.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, I can talk about Sinners for 2 minutes until you see it.
Yeah, let's do this,
We'll
Alan.
just do it super fast. We'll do it super
Yeah,
fast.
here we go. So let's get the posters up here. Tell me about Sinners, Alan.
So, yeah, this is
I
basically
want your early thoughts.
Yeah, Ryan Coogler's first horror film. I think with the review's coming out, it's spoiled. It's a vampire movie. But the thing is, after watching the movie, I thought to myself, this is as if Ryan Coogler made a horror film, which is exactly what happened, because it's not just a vampire movie, but he brings a lot to the story behind it. It takes place in the 1930s. The brothers here, played by Ryan Coogler, open a juke joint.
Played by Michael B. Jordan. He plays
Michael B. Jordan.
brothers. Yeah.
Right, he plays these 2 brothers. The thing about it is it's a vampire movie, and what Ryan Coogler does is he takes this story about the South New Orleans in the 1930s with all the political and race stuff going on, and he incorporates it in a vampire movie in such a way that he actually upholds the lore of vampires and does not break a single rule when it comes to vampires. And I think that's the best thing I could say about this movie, is that it is a true vampire movie as only told by Ryan Coogler. Second thing is, you must see this in IMAX. He shot it in IMAX. There are scenes that are just gorgeous to look at, almost dreamlike when it hits that full IMAX screen. And I'll tell you, the final battle at the end is fills up that entire IMAX screen. So do yourself a favor, if you are into IMAX, see Sinners in that format.
I was sold on the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
The look of terror on Michael B. Jordan's face.
And the thing is,
things are
the scenes in those trailers, you know, it's like you start remembering when you saw it, and they occur in weird places in the movie that you wouldn't imagine that's where that scene comes from.
Also, what's good about that trailer, I don't know what the story is.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it's about vampires. That's the one thing. I assume it was some outside threat, some monster, but that trailer, I think, is one of the great trailers, recent trailers.
Yeah. And then when you see it,
because it doesn't ruin it.
Yeah, I think you're gonna really enjoy it when you see it. And it's you know, it's not your it's not a movie just about a bunch of people fighting vampires and getting away, but there's a broader story that just lends to the richness and it's a Ryan Coogler movie 100%.
Let's go to comments here.
Tyler W. It feels like a Southern gangster movie meets Salem's Lot, kind of. I mean, yeah, see the movie. AD Ellis, Sinners and Warfare are duking out for my to be my first theater film in months. There can only be one. No, you can see both.
No, see both, because I'll get to Warfare here.
Yeah, I've seen Warfare as well.
But let's do our next
I've not seen this one, though.
That's okay. It's okay, Alan. It's all good. Okay, waiting on the poster.
There we go.
Let's talk about Sacramento. Sacramento is an independent movie starring Kristen Stewart, Michael Cera, Michael Angiarano, and Maya Erskine. Erskine? Can I say that correctly?
Yeah, that's right.
Michael plays Ricky. Michael Angiarano plays Ricky. Michael Cera plays Glenn. They are two bestest friends ever. Michael is married to Kristen Stewart's character, Rosie. She is pregnant, about to have a baby. And Michael Cera's character, Glenn, has a lot of anxiety he deals with. And Rosie, his wife, his pregnant wife, kind of is the wears the pants in the family, as well as being pregnant. And Glenn's kind of well, I'm not going to just beat around the bush. He's kind of pussified and part agoraphobic, anxiety ridden. His friend Ricky shows up and takes Glenn on an adventure, a road trip. It's a very cliche indie film premise that we've seen hundreds of times before. The only thing that might make this interesting is Michael Cera. We haven't seen him in a movie in a while, but this is a movie we've seen a lot of times. It's awkward humor, awkward drama, awkward situations. But we've seen this. Michael Cera and Michael Angarano. I'm pronouncing that wrong. I'm positive. Have they're fun to watch, but I can't say I haven't already seen this movie. Kristen Stewart being sort of she's really the dad of the family, or the family to be, being pregnant. Nothing really special about this film, unfortunately. And even I don't dislike Michael Cera. Okay, double negative, but yeah, I was not super jazzed about this film. I think it's kind of forgettable. It's the kind of indie movie they would have made 15, 20 years ago that would be hailed at Sundance, but now it's become a cliche. So honestly, cannot recommend Sacramento. It's again a movie that probably will do well on streaming, but it's a genre that I feel is kind of tired. Make of that what you will.
Yeah. And not the greatest title in the world either.
Sacramento, kind of a boring town. I've been there.
It's a horrible town.
Yeah.
Only because of politicians.
Let's go to comments.
I was gonna say I'll wait till Tubi when it comes out. J Ham Stoneface. Sarah with anxiety. That's a stretch.
That's every character he plays.
Even Barbie. Gung Ho Mac. Pussified is pretty much real Sacramento. Yeah. And a Serious Man member for 13 months. Are either of you going to make it to Vegas next week? Have you decided?
Not yet. I have a hotel. I'm debating, because it'll mean I'll have to do the show from Vegas, and I have to see the movie Sitters.
Yeah. Well, if there's an early showing, like at 2:00, you could do it in Vegas.
I'll try,
because I think that's the only way. That's the only way I can make it work.
I'll know on Monday. It's just, if it happened during CinemaCon, it would make sense. I don't want to go to fucking Vegas twice in a month. I'm serious. Like,
I know.
Next year, if it's I may or may not go, but if it's not during CinemaCon, I'm not going. I can't. I'm going for a meetup. Look, I love Gary. I love Ryan. I love the whole gang. X-Ray Girl. They're fun to party with, but make it during CinemaCon and I'll go. This year, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'd have to drive home Thursday night, and I'm not sure I want to do that.
Yeah. So there you go. All right. Next film we will talk about. Let's talk about a movie you and I have both seen. Alan, let's talk about Warfare. Warfare is directed by Alex Garland and co-directed with Ray Mendoza. Alex Garland is a director. Of course, he did Civil War, among other films, Exo Machina. among others. I really like Alex Garland. Civil War, mixed reviews from that. But with the aid of Ray Mendoza, who is not a director necessarily, he's a Navy SEAL. Warfare, one of my favorite movies this year so far. It's going to be on my top list of the year. Let's get into it. A great ensemble cast. There's not really a person that is the lead. There's a really good ensemble cast rounded out by Kit Connor, Will Poulter, Cosmo Jarvis, Michael Gandolfini, Joseph Quinn, and Charles Melton, Noah Centineo. Great cast of familiar actors, but no stars. And there's not one of them that is really the star of the movie necessarily. It takes place in Iraq in 2005, based on a real story. It's not about a war per se. It's not epic in scale necessarily. It's about a skirmish, a day in the life, if you will, of military men in Iraq in 2005. And there is a great choice on the part of the filmmaker. The sound design, there is no music per se. There's no score other than inconsequential music that takes place in the film.
And a really cool music video in the beginning.
A cool way. Yes, that's fine. But it really gets into the cost of war. It's not commenting in a moral sense. It's not on any side politically, one way or the other. This is, and the first part of the movie is so intentional, so tension filled. This setting up the quiet, mundane life. And then when things go down, they go down in costly ways, where it reminds me of people I've heard talk about war, where you're not as concerned with the objective so much as the person next to you and what can happen to them in war. I mean, obviously no spoilers. We'll discuss the experience, and the movie is a tight 90 minutes. This puts you in how it must feel to be in war, in conflict. They're not even seeing the faces of the people they're fighting. I think this movie is phenomenal. My son is a U.S. Marine, and he has been to Bahrain. I'm not going to talk too much about my son. I'm just saying,
it puts a lot of perspective on what your son does.
More perspective.
Yeah.
I texted him after. I said, you have to see this movie. But I was blown away by this film. And I didn't really even realize all the actors that were in it because they're so covered in gear and whatnot. Blown away. Sound design, the experience, everything about this film impressed me. And it was good to see, because I had mixed thoughts about Civil War, but I'll say Alex Garland, with the help of Ray Mendoza, phenomenal job. This movie, I mean, there's not even a list of 5 so far of the year that are on my top list, but this is on the list. Alan, what did you think of Warfare?
Yeah, just for a little context, it's a story of a sniper crew who is covering Marines as they're going through Ramadi. And so they're locked up in a house, and the enemy figures out that they're there, and this is the escape mission. The thing about this, I hate war. I'm not a fan of war, being in war, and this movie just reinforces that war is hell, and that these brave men are in this because there's a greater picture that they're involved in. But that's not even a part of it. It's their experience. This movie is about their experience, and there are two things that go on. One is when you watch a movie, and if you watched as many movies as we have, you realize that there's a narrative. A story's going to go this direction, and then all of a sudden wrap itself beautifully at that. That's not this movie. This is a real life incident. And so you have no clue what's happening next or what's going to happen next, only because it's real. No one wrote the script out. No one plotted this saying, here's the arc and everything. And that's the tension of it. The other thing is a big part of the film is two of the members of the team are wounded, like critically wounded, and they need to evacuate them out. And in a movie, you would get them out and then people would die and stuff like that. But you realize, no, that the point is that everyone involved, every American soldier involved in this team, they have to survive, or the rescue mission is almost pointless at this point. A lot like Saving Private Ryan. And so, that gave me a different perspective on how war is that these soldiers, they do their job, they fulfill their orders, but at the end of it, they all need to come back home alive. And that informs a lot of the decisions they make, a lot of the orders that they're given. And all this to say that this is a military film unlike any other because it's real. Because this is what they do when they go on the battlefield.
And there aren't like lots of war films of the past focused on heroic moments. I'm gonna save you, and then the swelling music, heroic music. Right. This is.
It's their job.
I mean, it's a job. It's mundane in the sense that it shows what it must really feel like. You, in the first third of the movie, you could not hear a pin drop in the theater. Mm-hmm. It was so tense, and my theater was full. I saw a Wednesday early access screening. I just bought a ticket, and it was so quiet in the theater. I tried to be really quiet eating popcorn. I was just like, I don't want to ruin anything. I want to be. It was amazing. So, this is not your hero swelling music, triumph, cliche lines. It feels very real. And even there's footage and photos of the real men on this, that this story is based on, this film is based on. You see at the end, they show real footage and photos. Unbelievable. And go see it.
At the beginning, it says, sorry to interrupt, but at the beginning, it says, it was all written based on the memories of the three guys who were involved in this skirmish here.
Yeah, and it's see it in a theater, see it in IMAX, and do not miss this. This is why you go to the theater to see movies like this. Strong recommend. See it in a theater, and on my best of the year list so far, which is like 3 movies, truth be told. But great film. Alan?
Yeah, this is what Grace Randolph and I got into a skirmish about. She said it was the greatest. I said, well, it's great, but I don't know about greatest. And then that's when you encounter Grace Randolph fans. I mean, it's a great movie. It's a great movie. I don't know. It's the greatest military film, or at least one of the greatest. Yeah.
Let's go to comments.
All right. Jeffrey Nicholson, Warfare isn't a movie so much as an experience.
Yes. Explain. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, Hannibal Grimm. I really dug this film, and I freaking love the sound on this film. Oh my god!
Yes, the sound or lack of sound.
Yeah,
like so tense.
Or the effects. Yeah. Darth Yeager, you had me at A Day in the Life of Military Men. That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah. Go see it in the theater, Darth.
Razorburn, Chris. So this is similar to Black Hawk Down.
I would say no. Different in the same vein. But I wouldn't say similar.
I think this one is just oozing with authenticity.
Yes, that's
as opposed to everything else tends to be done for dramatic purposes. Vera Tenuda for 2. If you like Warfare, should watch Best in Hell.
Thank you for the recommend.
Or Primitive. What's that? Primitive Evil? Is that?
There you go. All right. Let's get Alan. What am I doing right now? What could be happening?
What could be happening is if I knew what movie you were going to next.
Well, there's only one left.
All right. Well, I'm not doing posters. That's the thing.
Oh, well, then the Lori, just kind of guess what's happening next. There you go.
Lori, I understand how you feel.
Hey, let's talk about Hell of a Summer. It is a film that is directed by, Billy Brick and Finn Wolfhard. Finn Wolfhard directing a film. Of course, we know the actor. This is a movie about a summer camp, and I love this actor. Fred Heckinger plays a guy named Jason who's 25 years old, but he still works at this summer camp. And he is the most positive and enthusiastic version. I can't wait. We're doing the summer camp, Camp Pineway. Let's go. He's so enthusiastic. He's kind of annoying. You meet a bunch of other people who are working at the camp. Finn Wolfhard plays a guy named Chris. Billy Brick plays Bobby, a whole cast of characters of different types. An emo girl, a guy that just wants to get laid. It's your typical cast of people at a summer camp. And what happens? The kids have not yet arrived. They're coming in a few days, but horrible murders are happening at the summer camp. No! Jason, played by Fred Heckinger, is trying to solve it. They somehow think it's him. You're going through the cast of characters as one by one they are killed off. We've seen this kind of thing before, not done this way. It ends up being like, I don't want to ruin anything, but I'll just say this. It ends up being, in a way, kind of like Scream at a summer camp, if that makes sense. Two people in masks are doing the killings. Who are these characters? There are fewer and fewer suspects as people die off. I will say the thing that did it for me was Fred Heckinger. I'm not good on pronunciation today, folks. Help me out. His character Jason, I loved. He's the one that saved it for me. It's as much a comedy as a horror film too. It's not woke. In fact, it makes fun of woke in a way because it's basically Gen Z Scream at a summer camp. And Gen Z kids do talk about like gender and whatnot. So that becomes part of it. It's kind of mocked in a way, or like, whatever, the character Bobby just wants to get laid. He doesn't care. He'll change his personality based on what girl he's trying to appeal to because he wants to get in her pants. So there you go. Which sounds like men of that age, boys of that age. They'll say anything to a girl like, oh, I agree with that. Whatever, yoga. Sure. So it's a very good cast. And Fred as Jason makes it. He's so likable. So I had a good time for this movie. It's not super gory. So Alan, I think it's safe for you.
Thanks.
It's not super gory. It's not about the gore. It really is. And it's a tight 90 minutes. It doesn't overstay its welcome. Had a good time. I recommend Hell of a Summer, a fun horror movie. And it plays with a lot of the cliches of these types of horror movies. So recommend from me. Check it out, whether in the theater or on streaming. Worth it. All right. It's safe for you. It's safe for you, Alan, to go to Camp
Dad.
It's safe for you to go to Camp Pineway.
I may see it.
Check it out. Good cast, good fun. Let's see our comments here as we wrap up.
Tyler W. kind of feels like Zoomer Friday the 13th.
Exactly. It is a Zoomer Friday the 13th in a good way.
Yeah, go to A.D. Ellis's comment.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, want to feel old? The directors of this film were born in 1999 and 2002. Yeah.
Well,
the Zoomer con.
I felt old even before that.
Sin's Corner. Hey, saw Hell of a Summer last week. It seems to be very self-aware when it comes to camp slashers.
That's also fun. It's like the audience is in on it. That's what made it fun.
I mean, yeah. Sons and Shadows. Love summer camp slashers. I'll see it.
Yeah. And there you go. And that'll wrap it up for us today. A few more comments here.
Sons and Shadows for 2. Chris, do you remember Summer Camp Nightmare?
I actually don't. I'm sorry. God, sorry to disappoint. There you go. Alan,
Meatballs. I remember Meatballs, though.
I love Meatballs. Hey, and want to thank Lord Thoth, Atomic Lori, Glenn Nuccio, my friend Alan. What do you have coming up this weekend, Alan?
Oh, I will be at the National Comedy Theater tomorrow at 7:30 for some improv comedy. Come out. It'll be a fun. Bring the whole family.
All right. I'm going to see Secret Mall Apartment at the Alamo Draft House. I don't know what's showing, but I'm going to see it.
I might try to drag my kid out to Alamo and see it.
Tell me what's showing. We'll be at the same one.
We'll see. It's kind of one of those last minute things.
Well, I love the Alamo because you get dinner, a movie. They bring an aluminum bowl, giant bowl of popcorn to your seat, free refills. I love it. It's worth it. They have a really good old fashioned too. So you get killed two birds with one stone. Dinner, refreshments, drinking. And by the way, for the Draft House, always show up super early. I get there super early because they have like a half hour of like videos they show before the movie. You get in your seat, you order your food, the regular trailers, then the movie starts. I love it.
It's very silly.
Yeah, cool. All right, great. That'll wrap it up for us. We will see you Monday with Versus. We're going to continue this conversation about the Fantastic Four.
In China.
And Fantastic Four, China on Versus on Monday. So that's it for us. Alan?
Let's get out of here.